The great hall of the Galactic Council fell silent as Ambassador Zethka stepped forward. His blue skin seemed to glow under the bright lights as he looked at the dozens of alien faces staring back at him. Some had 4 eyes, others had tentacles, instead of arms, and a few looked like giant insects. But they all shared the same worried expression. Fellow council member Zethka began, his voice echoing in the massive chamber. We must talk about the species from the 3rd planet of the Sol system, the ones who call themselves humans. A ripple of nervous chatter spread through the room. Most of the aliens had heard whispers about these strange new creatures. Our ADIO signals had been detected 3 years ago, filled with violence and chaos that made even the bravest council members uncomfortable. Council leader Vexenar, tall creature with 6 arms and silver eyes, waved for silence. Ambassador Zethka, surely these primitives pose no real concern. They have barely left their own planet. Their technology is crude at best. Zethka shook his head slowly. That is what worries me, honored leader. I have spent months studying their transmissions. These humans are not like us. They fight constantly, even among themselves. Their entertainment shows are filled with violence. Their history is nothing but war after war. All species go through violent phases uninterrupted. Counselor Meltha, her insect-like features clicking with amusement. They will calm down once they join our peaceful federation. A few decades of proper guidance, and they will be as civilized as any of us. You do not understand, Zethka said, his voice growing more urgent. These creatures come from a world of extremes. They have survived ice ages, plagues, and natural disasters that would wipe out entire civilizations. Their planet tries to kill them every day, and they thrive on it. Meanwhile, across the galaxy on a small blue planet, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. Through the large windows he could see 11 other ships floating in the darkness of space. Each one represented years of human engineering and determination. Status report, Captain Phillips, Morrison said to the younger man beside him. Captain Ryan Phillips checked his tablet. All ships ready for departure, sir. The crew has completed final checks on weapons, shields, and life support systems. Doctor, Grant is finishing her briefings on alien contact protocols. Morrison nodded. At 52 years old, he had seen 3 wars and countless smaller conflicts. His gray hair and weathered face told the story of a man who had spent his life protecting Earth. Now he faced the biggest challenge of his career, representing humanity to an entire galaxy of alien species. Any word from Earth Command about our mission parameters? Morrison asked. Yes, sir. We're to make peaceful contact, but be ready for anything. The president was very clear about that. Phillips paused. Sir, do you really think they will be friendly? Morrison looked out at the stars. Son, in my experience, nobody gives away power willingly. These aliens have controlled space for thousands of years. They will not be happy to see new competition. Down in the ship's science lab, Dr. Lisa Grant was explaining alien culture too. A group of officers. Her brown hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her green eyes were bright with excitement and worry. Remember, we know very little about these species, she said to the 20 people gathered around her. What we do know comes from intercepted communications and observations from long-range sensors. They seem to value peace and cooperation above all else. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez raised her hand. Dr. Grant, what if they do not want us in their space? What if they see us as a threat? That is a very good question, Amy. We must be careful not to appear aggressive. These aliens have been at peace for centuries. They may not understand our more direct approach to problem solving. Back in the council chamber, the debate was growing heated. Ambassador Zethka had pulled up images of Earth on the main screen. The planet looked beautiful from space, with white clouds swirling over, blue oceans, and green continents. Look at this world, Zethka said. It appears peaceful, but it is one of the most dangerous planets we have ever discovered. The gravity is crushing, the atmosphere is poisonous to most species, and the weather patterns could destroy our strongest. Ships, you exaggerate, said Counselor Crestar, a reptilian creature with golden scales. No species could evolve intelligence in such conditions. That is exactly my point, Zethka replied. They should not exist, but they do. 8. and now they are coming here. The screen changed to show intercepted images of human military exercises. The aliens watched in stunned silence as human soldiers moved with deadly precision through environments that would kill most galactic species. They saw humans fighting in scorching deserts, frozen wastelands, and toxic swamps. These are not training exercises, Zethka explained. This is how they live every day. Their entire species has been shaped by constant struggle and competition. They do not know how to be weak. The council leader Vexanar leaned forward in his chair. What do you propose we do? We cannot simply ignore them. We should approach them carefully, Zethka said. We should not assume they will follow our rules or accept our authority. These humans may look primitive, but they are survivors, and survivors are always dangerous. The council chamber erupted in arguments. Some members wanted to make contact immediately and bring the humans into their peaceful federation. Others wanted to avoid them entirely. A few even suggested that humans might be too dangerous to allow into galactic space, but unknown to all of them. The decision had already been made. The human fleet was already moving toward their first meeting with alien civilization. Admiral Morrison had his orders. Captain Phillips had prepared his ship for whatever they might find. In just 3 months, everything would change. The galaxy had spent thousands of years building a civilization based on peace and cooperation. They had forgotten what it meant to fight for survival. But the humans remembered, and they were coming. 3 months later, the moment of first contact had finally arrived. The meeting would take place at Harmony Point, a massive space station that floated between the stars like a giant crystal flower. It was neutral ground, built specifically for diplomatic meetings between different species. Commander Pete Nelson adjusted his dress uniform one final time before stepping through the airlock. He was a tall man with steady brown eyes and graying hair at his temples. Behind him walked Dr. Lisa Grant and 3 other human officers. They were the first humans to set foot on an alien structure, remember Dr. Grant whispered as they walked. Down the gleaming corridor, we are guests here. Be polite, be respectful, but stay alert. The corridor was beautiful, but strange. The walls curved in impossible ways, and the lighting seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Their footsteps echoed strangely in the alien atmosphere. Waiting for them in the main reception hall was diplomatic envoy Crestar. He was 7 feet tall, with golden scales that shimmered under the lights. His reptilian face showed what the humans hoped was a smile, though it was hard to tell. Welcome, humans, Crestar said, his voice coming through a small device that translated. His words, I am honored to meet representatives of your developing civilization. Commander Nelson stepped forward and extended his hand. Thank you for meeting with us, Envoy Crestar. We look forward to learning about your galactic community. Crestar stared at the extended hand for a moment before carefully touching it with one clawed finger. The gesture was clearly meant to be polite, but it felt more like someone touching a dangerous animal. Please, follow me, Crestar said. There is much to discuss about your integration process. As they walked through the station, the humans noticed many things that Dr. Grant had not expected. Armed guards followed them at a distance, though they were called security escorts. The pathways seemed designed to channel visitors in specific directions, making it impossible to explore freely. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez, communications officer, was monitoring the translation device carefully. She had studied alien languages for years, and something was bothering her about the conversations. Sir, she whispered to Commander Nelson, I think there might be a problem with the translators. What kind of problem? I am picking up the original alien speech, and it does not match what we are hearing. When Envoy Crestar speaks, his words sound much more commanding in his own language. Meanwhile, in the docking bay, Captain Ben Taylor was inspecting the area around the human ships. He was a security expert who had spent 20 years protecting important people and places. His job was to make sure the humans could leave safely if needed. What he saw made him uncomfortable. The docking procedures were not designed for quick departure. The alien systems had locked onto the human ships in ways that would take hours to disconnect. Worse, the docking bay could be sealed from the outside, trapping any ships inside. This is not standard procedure, he muttered to himself. This is a cage. Back in the conference room, the formal discussions had begun. The room was huge, with a curved ceiling that showed images of peaceful alien worlds. Dozens of different species sat around a circular table, all looking at the 5 humans with curious expressions. Council leader Vexenar spoke first. "Humans of Earth, we welcome you to our galactic community. For thousands of years, we have maintained peace and prosperity among the stars. We are ready to share this gift with your species." Commander Nelson nodded politely. "We appreciate your welcome, Council leader. We hope to learn from your experience and contribute to the peace you have built." "Excellent," said Vexenar. "The integration process is quite simple. First, your military forces will be disbanded and replaced with our peacekeeping units. Second, your planetary government will be dissolved and replaced with a council of alien advisors. Third, your people will be relocated to worlds better suited for your development." The humans exchanged quick glances. This was not what they had expected. From a diplomatic meeting, Dr. Grant spoke carefully. "Council leader, we appreciate your offer, but we were hoping for a more gradual introduction to galactic society. Perhaps we could start with trade agreements and cultural exchanges." Counselor Meltha, the insect-like creature, clicked her mandibles. In what might have been laughter, "Dear humans, you misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. This is standard procedure for all primitive species. You will find it much easier if you simply accept our guidance." Commander Nelson felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his voice calm. "With respect, Counselor, we do not consider ourselves primitive. We have successfully developed space travel, artificial intelligence, and fusion power. We believe we can contribute as equals to your community." The room fell silent. Several aliens looked shocked, as if a pet had suddenly started giving orders. Envoy Crestar leaned forward. "Commander Nelson, I think you do not understand your situation. Your species has been evaluated by our experts. You are classified as a pre-civilized race in need of guidance. Your violent history and aggressive tendencies make you unsuitable for independent membership in our community." "Aggressive tendencies?" Dr. Grant asked. "Your entertainment broadcasts are filled with violence," said Counselor Meltha. "Your history is nothing but war and conflict. Your sports involve physical combat. These are not the behaviors of a civilized species, Lieutenant." Rodriguez continued monitoring the translation device. The more she listened, the more concerned she became. The aliens were not just being condescending in their own language, they were being openly insulting. Words like primitive, dangerous, and controllable appeared frequently in their actual speech. "Sir," she whispered urgently to Commander Nelson, "they are not being honest with us. The translation device is changing their words to sound more polite." Commander Nelson absorbed this information without changing his expression. Years of military training had taught him to stay calm under pressure. "Envoy Crestar," he said slowly, "I think there may be some misunderstanding about our intentions and capabilities. Perhaps it would be better if we took some time to study each other's cultures before making any major decisions." Crestar waved a clawed hand dismissively. "There is no need for delay. Your compliance period begins immediately. Our transport ships will arrive at your system within the month to begin the relocation process." The words hung in the air like a threat. The humans had come expecting to negotiate as equals, but the aliens saw them as primitives to be managed and controlled. Commander Nelson stood up slowly. "I think we need to return to our ships and consult with our government about these proposals." "Of course," said Crestar, but his tone suggested he was humoring children. "But remember, the decision has already been made. Your compliance is expected, not requested." As the humans walked back through the corridors of Harmony Point, they realized that everything had changed. They had not come to join a galactic community. They had walked into a trap designed by species, who saw them as nothing more than dangerous animals to be tamed. But the aliens had made one critical mistake. They had assumed that humans would accept their authority without question. They had never encountered a species that had spent its entire existence fighting for survival and freedom. The real first contact was about to begin, and it would not go the way the galactic community expected. The next morning, everything changed at Harmony Point. Commander Nelson had requested a cultural demonstration to help the aliens better understand human society. The Alien Council had agreed, thinking it would be amusing to watch primitive humans try to impress them. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. Colonel Sam Parker stepped off the human transport ship with 40 of his best Marines. He was a compact man with steel-gray eyes and scars on his hands from years of combat. His Marines moved behind him with the quiet precision of predators. Each one carried equipment that looked crude compared to alien technology, but every piece had been tested in the worst conditions Earth could provide. "Remember," Parker said to his team, "this is just a demonstration. Show them what human soldiers can really do." Aliens had gathered in a large observation deck to watch the show. Council leader Vexenar sat in the front row with several other important officials. They expected to see clumsy primitives stumbling around with basic weapons. What they saw instead made them question everything they thought they knew about warfare. The demonstration began in what the aliens called an extreme environment chamber. It was designed to test the limits of different species. The temperature was set to levels that would kill most galactic races. The air was thin and toxic, and the gravity was increased to crushing levels. Colonel Parker and his Marines entered. "The chamber without protective suits? Impossible," whispered Counselor Meltha. "No species can survive in those conditions." The Marines not only survived, they thrived. They moved through the hostile environment like it was a comfortable room. When obstacles were added, they overcame them with frightening efficiency. When combat scenarios were introduced, they responded with tactics that made the alien observers physically ill. Chief Engineer Kate Williams was watching from a different part of the station. She had been examining alien technology with growing amazement. Their computers were incredibly advanced, their energy systems were brilliant, their materials science was centuries ahead of Earth. But she had also discovered something the aliens did not expect her to notice. All of their technology was incredibly fragile. "Dr. Grant," she called over the communication system, "you need to see this." Dr. Grant found Kate in one of the technical sections, holding a piece of alien equipment that had stopped working. "What happened to it?" Grant asked. "I dropped it," Kate said simply. "From about 3 feet, it shattered like glass." Grant stared at the broken device. "But their technology is so advanced." "Advanced, yes, but not tough. Look at this." Kate led her to a control panel. "This system can calculate the movement of entire star systems, but if the temperature changes by more than 5 degrees, it shuts down. Their ships are beautiful and fast, but they cannot handle rough weather or combat damage." "You mean our primitive technology is actually stronger?" Kate nodded. "Much stronger. Our equipment is built to work when everything goes wrong. Theirs is built to work perfectly in perfect conditions." Meanwhile, in another part of the station, War Master the Kalan was having the worst day of his very long military career. He was one of the few aliens who actually understood combat, having fought in the galaxy's handful of small conflicts over the past 1,000 years. He was watching the human demonstration with growing horror. "This cannot be real," he muttered to his aide. "No species moves like that." The humans were demonstrating urban combat techniques. They moved through a mock city with deadly grace, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. When they encountered obstacles, they did not go around them, they went through them. When they faced enemies, they did not retreat or negotiate, they attacked with overwhelming force. But it was not just their combat skills that terrified the Kalan, it was their attitude. The aliens had built their civilization on the idea that violence was always the last resort, something to be avoided at all costs. These humans treated violence like a tool, something to be used efficiently and without hesitation. "Sir," his aide whispered. "What are they?" The Kalan had read the old stories, the legends that most aliens thought were just fiction. Stories about species so dangerous that they could conquer entire galaxies. Species that evolved on worlds so harsh that survival itself was a daily battle. "Deathworlders," he said quietly. "They are Deathworlders." Back in the demonstration area, Dr. Alex Turner was giving a presentation about human biology to a group of alien scientists. He was a cheerful man with a friendly smile, but his words were causing panic among his audience. "The average human can survive without food for about 30 days, he explained casually. "We can go without water for 3 to 5 days, depending on conditions. Our bones can heal from breaks, our skin can repair itself from cuts, and our bodies can continue functioning even with significant damage." One of the alien scientists, a delicate creature that looked like a walking flower, raised a tentacle. "Dr. Turner, surely you exaggerate. No species can endure such trauma." Turner smiled. "Would you like me to demonstrate? I could break my own finger and show you how it heals." The alien scientist fainted.
Ow.
"Our planet has tried to kill us for millions of years," Turner continued to the remaining scientists. "Ice ages, volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, diseases, predators, we have survived them all. Evolution has made us incredibly tough to kill." Another alien scientist asked, "What do you consider recreational activities?" Turner pulled up images on his tablet. Some humans enjoyed jumping out of perfectly good aircraft with nothing but a piece of cloth to slow their fall. Others like to climb mountains in freezing weather. Some people enjoy swimming with dangerous sea creatures or running long distances in extreme heat. The alien scientist stared at the images in disbelief. What humans called fun looked like elaborate suicide attempts. Two species that had evolved on gentler worlds. "Your species does this for enjoyment?" one asked weakly. "Oh yes," Turner said cheerfully. "We find it relaxing." By the end of the day, the entire alien council was in emergency session. Primitive humans had demonstrated capabilities that should have been impossible. They were stronger, faster, and more durable than any known species. Their technology, while less advanced, was incredibly reliable and battle-tested. Their soldiers moved like they had been born for war, but most terrifying of all was their attitude. They did not seem to understand that they should be afraid or impressed by alien superiority. They treated the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy like equals, or worse, like potential opponents to be studied and evaluated. Ambassador Zethka stood before the panicked council members. "I tried to warn you," he said. "These are not primitives seeking guidance. These are apex predators from a world that makes our worst nightmares look like paradise." Council leader Vexinar's voice shook as he spoke. "What do we do? How do we handle them?" "Very carefully," said War Master the Clon, who had joined the emergency session. "We are dealing with a species that has turned survival into an art form. They do not know how to surrender because surrender means death on their world." Counselor Crestar, who had been so confident the day before, now looked terrified. "But surely they will accept our authority once they understand our superior technology and organization." Decalon shook his head. "You still do not understand. They do not see our technology as superior. They see it as fragile. They do not see our organization as advanced. They see it as slow and inefficient. In their minds, we are not the teachers or the students." As the Alien Council argued through the night, the humans were making their own plans. Commander Nelson, Colonel Parker, and the other human leaders had learned everything they needed to know about their hosts. The aliens were more advanced in some ways, but they had grown soft and complacent. They had forgotten how to fight, how to adapt, and how to survive when things went wrong. They saw humans as primitives. Humans saw them as a civilization waiting to be protected or conquered. The demonstration had revealed the truth that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity had not come seeking to join an existing order. They had come to create a new one, and the aliens were just beginning to understand what that meant. 2 weeks after the demonstration at Harmony Point, the entire galaxy held its breath. News of the human capabilities had spread through alien space faster than light communication could carry it. Every species that had ever felt safe under the SE protection of the Galactic Council now wondered what was coming. They did not have to wait long to find out. Admiral Blood Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance as his fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Council territory. Through the view screen, he could see the massive alien defense stations that protected their core worlds. They were beautiful structures like crystal palaces floating in space. But Morrison's experienced eye saw their weaknesses immediately. Tactical report, Commander Hayes, Morrison ordered. Commander Rick Hayes studied his displays with the calm focus of a man who had fought in 3 interstellar conflicts. Sir, we count 47 alien defense platforms and approximately 200 civilian ships in the area. Their weapons are energy-based, long-range systems, very precise, but they appear to have slow recharge rates, and their defenses sophisticated. Shield systems, Admiral. But they seem designed to deflect rather than absorb damage. I do not think they have ever faced kinetic weapons or sustained bombardment. Morrison nodded. The human fleet had not come to fight, but they were ready for anything. 12 ships might not sound like much compared to the vast alien armadas, but each human vessel carried weapons and armor designed for the brutal realities of Earth warfare. Open communications with the lead defense station, Morrison ordered. Let them know we are here for peaceful discussions. On the alien command station, panic was setting in. Fleet Commander Zalkoth had been watching the human ships since they appeared on his sensors, and nothing made sense. The vessels looked primitive compared to alien designs, but they moved with a precision and purpose that made his scales crawl with fear. Sir, his communications officer reported, the humans are requesting permission to approach for diplomatic talks. Zalkoth stared at the tactical display. The human fleet had positioned itself perfectly to strike at multiple targets while maintaining excellent defensive formations. It was the work of military professionals who understood space combat better than any species in the galaxy. How many ships did you say they have? He asked weakly. 12, sir. But our analysts believe each one carries firepower equivalent to an entire alien squadron. Meanwhile, on Earth, Senator Carol Davis was preparing for the most important video, Conference in Human History. She would be speaking directly to the Galactic Council, and she knew that her words would determine whether humanity joined the galactic community as friends or conquerors. Davis was a small woman with silver hair and intelligent brown eyes. She had spent 30 years in politics, negotiating with world leaders and corporate powers. But this was different. This time she was representing her entire species to an audience that had never encountered anything like humanity. Morrison, she said over the quantum communication link, what is your status? We are in position, Senator. The alien fleet is maintaining distance, but they have not taken any hostile actions. I think they are too scared to move. Davy smiled. Grimly, scared is good. Scared means they will listen. Are you ready to make them an offer they cannot refuse? Back on the alien command station, the defensive fleet was discovering just how outclassed they really were. Human ships moved through space like they owned it, ignoring obstacles that would force alien vessels to slow down or change course. When asteroid fields blocked their path, they simply powered through them. When radiation storms appeared, they kept flying without missing a beat. How are they doing that? Fleet Commander Zalkoth demanded. His science officer, a nervous creature with too many eyes, checked his instruments frantically.
Sir?
Their ships appear to be built for combat in hostile environments. Our vessels are designed for efficiency. In comfort, theirs are designed to survive anything the universe can throw at them. And their crews? Based on our observations, human crews can function under accelerations that would kill most of our people. They can operate in damaged ships with failing life support. They seem to... enjoy the challenge. The main screen flickered to life, showing Senator Davis speaking from Earth. Her image was transmitted to every major world in the galaxy, and her words would be remembered for centuries. People of the galaxy, she began, her voice calm and confident. I am Senator Carol Davis, speaking for the United Earth government. We come to you not as supplicants seeking membership in your community, but as equals offering partnership. Council chambers across the galaxy, alien leaders shifted uncomfortably. This was not how primitive species were supposed to talk. We have learned much about your civilization in recent weeks, Davis continued. You have built a remarkable society based on peace and cooperation. But peace without strength is merely weakness, waiting to be exploited. Cooperation without the ability to defend what you have built is just an invitation for others to take it away. Supreme Chancellor Morden, the highest leader in the Galactic Council, felt his blood growing cold. The human was speaking like someone who understood power, not like a primitive begging for acceptance. "We offer you our strength," Davis said. "Human engineering that can build in the harshest environments. Human medicine that can heal injuries you consider fatal. Human military expertise that can protect your worlds from threats you have never imagined." On the defense station, alarms began blaring. The human fleet was moving again, but not in attack formation. They were spreading out, taking positions that would allow them to cover every major shipping lane and communication hub in the system. "What are they doing?" Zalkath demanded. Commander Hayes answered that question from the bridge of the UES Defiance. "We are making a statement, Admiral. We are showing them that we could control this entire system if we wanted to. But we are choosing not to." It was a masterful display of controlled power. The humans demonstrated that they could dominate the aliens whenever they chose, but they were offering partnership instead of conquest. But in return, Senator Davis continued her speech, "We expect to be treated as equals, not as primitives, to be guided or children to be protected. We will work with you to build a better galaxy, but we will not be ruled by you." The message was clear to every alien leader watching. Humanity had not come begging to join their civilization. They had come offering to improve it. And if that offer was rejected, they had the power to impose their will by force. General Nick Foster, watching from Earth's military command center, smiled as he saw the alien responses coming in. Messages of confusion, fear, and grudging respect flooded the communication networks. Some species wanted immediate alliance with humanity. Others demanded that the humans be stopped before they grew too powerful. But all of them understood that the galaxy had changed forever. "Ma'am," Foster said to Senator Davis, "we are receiving surrender requests from 12 different alien governments. They want human protection from other species who might threaten them." Davis nodded. "And the Galactic Council?" "Emergency session. They are debating whether to accept our partnership offer or declare us a threat to galactic peace." "Let them debate," Davis said calmly. "Admiral Morrison, how long would it take your fleet to reach their capital world?" Morrison's voice came through clearly. 18 hours, Senator, and they know it." Ambassador Zethka, who had tried to warn his people about humanity months ago, now stood before a council in chaos. Some members wanted to fight the humans, others wanted to surrender immediately, and a few wise ones wanted to accept the partnership offer. "We have 3 choices," Zethka announced to the shouting aliens. "We can fight them and lose everything, can surrender to them and keep our lives, but lose our freedom. Or we can work with them and build something better than either of our civilizations could create alone." War Master the Klon stood up slowly. As the galaxy's most experienced military commander, his words carried special weight. "I have studied these humans for weeks," he said. "They are warriors born, but they are not conquerors. They could have attacked us immediately and won easily. Instead, they offered partnership. I believe they mean what they say." The debate raged through the night, but the outcome was inevitable. The aliens had spent so long living in safety that they had forgotten how to be strong. Now strength had arrived offering to protect them, and they could not afford to refuse. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to have humanity as partners. And for the first time in thousands of years, stars themselves seemed less dark and dangerous. The age of human-led galactic civilization was about to begin. 6 months had passed since the human fleet arrived in galactic space. The universe looked very different now. President Helen Carter stood at the window of the New Earth Embassy on Centauri Prime, watching alien and human workers building together. In the city below, the sight still amazed her. Tall blue Altarians worked alongside humans to construct buildings that could withstand both species' needs. Insectoid engineers shared designs with human architects. Children from a dozen different species played together in parks that had been designed for everyone. "Ma'am," her assistant called from across the room, "Ambassador Stone is ready for the council meeting." Carter nodded and walked to the communication center. On the main screen, she could see Mary Stone sitting in what used to be the Galactic Council chamber. But everything had changed since humans arrived. Ambassador Stone was a calm woman with gray hair and sharp green eyes. She had spent her career solving impossible problems, and now she faced the biggest challenge of all: rebuilding an entire galactic civilization. "Good morning, President Carter," Stone said. "I have the weekly reports from all sectors. Are the integration programs going better than expected? The vegan colonies that were failing due to harsh weather conditions are now thriving with human engineering support. Our medical teams have solved 3 different plagues that the aliens could not cure. And General Foster's peacekeeping forces have ended 4 separate conflicts that had been going on for decades." Carter smiled. "Any problems? Few species are still adjusting to our ... direct approach to problem solving, but most are starting to appreciate the results." Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, General Nick Foster was demonstrating exactly what Ambassador Stone meant by direct approach. He stood in the command center of a joint human-alien peacekeeping base, now watching the final moments of what the aliens had called the impossible war. For over 200 years, the helix and spiral species had been fighting over control of a star system. The aliens had tried every form of diplomacy, meditation, and peaceful resolution. Nothing had worked. General Foster had solved it in 3 weeks. "Status report, Colonel Green," he said to the human officer beside him. Colonel Tom Green checked his tablet. "Sir, both fleets have withdrawn to neutral positions. Our peace enforcement teams have secured all disputed territories. The new government is ready to take control." "How did they react to our solution?" Green grinned. "They are still in shock, sir. No one had ever suggested that both species could share the system by building separate orbital habitats. We're so focused on owning the planets that they never considered there was room for everyone." Foster nodded. Human military thinking was different from alien approaches. Where the aliens saw only victory or defeat, humans saw creative solutions. Where aliens accepted that some problems could not be solved, humans found new ways to solve them. Back on Earth, Dr. Paul Mitchell was working in a laboratory that would have seemed like magic just a year ago. Human and alien scientists worked side by side, combining technologies that neither species could have developed alone. Dr. Mitchell called his research partner a tentacled creature named Veltar. "The new medical scanner is ready for testing." Mitchell looked at the device they had built together, combined alien precision technology with human durability engineering. The result was a medical tool that could work in any environment, from the comfort of an alien hospital to the chaos of a battlefield. "Remarkable," Mitchell said. "Our medicine can heal what was considered untreatable, and your technology can detect problems we never knew existed." Veltar rippled his tentacles in what Mitchell had learned was alien laughter. 6 months ago, my people thought humans were primitive barbarians. Now I cannot imagine how we survived without your knowledge. And 6 months ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now we are part of something bigger than we ever dreamed. The former Galactic Council chambers, now called the Allied Systems Assembly, Ambassador Stone was addressing representatives from over 300 different species. The room had been redesigned to accommodate everyone, from tiny gas-floating creatures to massive rock-like beings. "The integration is proceeding ahead of schedule," Stone announced. "Human-led engineering teams have established colonies in previously uninhabitable systems. Our medical corps has extended the lifespan of 17 different species. Our defense forces have eliminated piracy from over 50 star systems." An alien representative stood up. It was Counselor Meltha, who had once laughed at human claims of equality. "Ambassador Stone, my people wish to formally apologize for our initial treatment of humanity. We did not understand what you were offering us." Stone smiled. "Counselor Meltha, there is nothing to apologize for. We were all learning about each other. What matters is what we build together now." Another alien, War Master. The Kalan raised a clawed hand. "Ambassador, my military analysts want to understand something."
Why did your species choose to help us instead of conquering us?
"You clearly had the power to take control by force." Because Stone replied, "Conquest would have given us slaves, not partners. We did not want to rule the galaxy. We wanted to improve it. That requires cooperation, not domination." The assembly fell silent as the aliens absorbed this concept. Most species in the galaxy had achieved peace by avoiding conflict entirely. Humans had achieved peace by being so strong that conflict became pointless, then using that strength to help everyone. President Carter, watching from Earth, felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The transformation was not complete yet, but the direction was clear. Humanity had not just joined galactic civilization, they had revolutionized it. On distant frontier worlds, human colonists worked alongside alien settlers to build cities in environments that would have killed either species. Alone. In the depths of space, mixed crews explored regions that had been considered too dangerous for any single species to visit. The galaxy was discovering that diversity was not just tolerated in the New Order, it was essential. Human strength covered alien weaknesses. Alien knowledge enhanced human capabilities. Together, they were becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. But perhaps the most important change was happening in the minds of both humans and aliens. The aliens were learning that peace did not require weakness, that strength could be used to protect rather than conquer. Humans were learning that their aggressive nature could be channeled into building rather than destroying. Ambassador Stone stood at the end of another successful assembly meeting, looking out at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens working together. Representatives who had once feared each other were now planning joint missions to explore distant galaxies. "You know," she said to her human aide, when our fleet first arrived, "everyone thought it would mean the end of the old galactic order. They were right, ma'am." "Yes, but they thought that was a bad thing. They did not realize that sometimes you have to end something old to build something better." Outside the assembly building, the city hummed with activity. Human engineers worked with alien architects to design buildings that could house any species. Alien doctors learned human surgical techniques while humans studied alien healing technologies. Children from dozens of worlds played games that mixed the traditions of many different cultures. The galaxy had been transformed. But not through conquest or forced change. It had been transformed through the simple recognition that strength without wisdom was meaningless, and wisdom without strength was powerless. Humanity had brought both, and in doing so, they had created something that neither species could have achieved alone. A truly united galaxy where every world, where every species, and every individual could thrive. The arrival of the Deathworlder fleet had indeed transformed everything. But the transformation was not the destruction that the aliens had feared. It was the birth of a civilization that could face any challenge the universe might present, because it combined the best qualities of every species that called the galaxy home. As President Carter often said in her speeches to the new Galactic Assembly, "We did not come to your stars to conquer them. We came to light them up." And the galaxy, for the first time in its long history, burned brighter than ever before.